Hey guys, this week on When You Need 'Em, Ask Neadom, we're going to talk about account hygiene. I don't know about you, but my mom always told me to walk out the front door with a clean pair of underwear. So this week we're going to talk about your business accounts and how to keep them nice and fresh and clean. See you real soon. Hey guys, I'm Neadom Tucker, owner of Kotori Technologies, and today we're going to talk about account hygiene and a couple of things you can do to make sure that your business is secure from those hackers out there. Now there's a lot of things that we can do in the day-to-day to make sure we're keeping safe, but one of the first things we really want to take a look at is sharing your information. Like somebody may ask you for your password, you need to send an information via text message to say, hey, go log into my account, here's my password. Don't do that. Don't ever send your password in clear text. And when I say clear text, anything that doesn't put encryption or security around your password to anybody. Send an encrypted message or pick up the phone and call them and give them the password over the phone. That's fine. Also, don't give your information out to anybody that calls you on the phone and saying they're with somebody. You don't really know. There's a lot of methods that we can use to hijack cell phone numbers so it looks like it's coming from somebody. So just make sure that you're being secure and safe and not sharing that information of your passwords out there or even your usernames. I mean, that's information that you want to do. If you have to send username and password information to somebody in email, send it separately. Send one form in an email, and then send the other one maybe in a text message if you have to. Again, we don't suggest sending any passwords or login information in clear text, though. Try to send that information encrypted. The second thing we want to look at is setting up account passwords for phone calls. So like if you've got to call into a call center to get support, we want to make sure that your account is set up with a password. That way somebody can't impersonate you and make account changes. Recently I saw something on LinkedIn or YouTube somewhere where a hacker, they were doing a demonstration where a hacker actually called in, had a crying baby in the background, just made it really uncomfortable for the person. They did it phone number spoofing on the account so that the call center thought the phone was coming from a phone number that was owned by the person that they were calling about. And anyways, they got in, they changed the account password, and then they got their name on the account to make admin changes just because they did what was called social engineering. So putting an account password on your account at that point will prevent those issues from happening. So we talk about this third one a lot. Two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is pretty much a roadblock for hackers to get into your account. Now, it's not the end-all be-all. There are some ways to circumvent that if the two-factor authentication is not set up right. Understand that this is another mechanism used to authenticate your account. So what would end up happening if the hacker had your username and password, they would also have to have this 3-digit or 6-digit or 4-digit, whatever the authentication token is, to log in. Maybe it's a USB key or a thumbprint or something you have to use as the second form of authentication besides your password. That usually stops about up to 90 to 100% of hackers in almost all circumstances. And depending on the authentication service you're using, it could literally stop 100%. So two-factor authentication really needs to be put on things like your email system, any cloud-based application that you get access to, even logging into your computer to get the ultimate level of security for your system. Okay, so now the fourth thing we really need to take a look at is complex passwords. Now, we've talked about this a number of times in a number of the videos, but complex passwords is another method to prevent what's called brute force attacks. Brute force attacks are somebody just guessing a password, 1,000 passwords a second into your account and using what's called the dictionary attack. Basically, we have a bunch of words in a file that we're going to go through and test using complex passwords that aren't in the English dictionary or even out there to be hacked. There's a website out there in one of our last videos we talked about, haveibeenpwned.com, has over 8 billion passwords, username and passwords that are on the dark web right now that have been hacked. So we want to make sure that we're using complex passwords. The easiest way to manage that, I mean, no one's going to remember a password that's, uppercase H, 2F, exclamation point, R2, $, 76, 132% sign. I mean, no one's going to remember that. But typically we'll use a password manager like a 1Pass, a Dashlane, a RoboForm to manage those complex passwords for us. And one complex password we use to get into that password manager. It's really gotten to the point now that we must use complex passwords on all of our sites that we're on. Also that we have separate passwords for each site that we use. Again, I cannot stress this enough. A password manager is really the key to helping you get through this. The fifth thing, the last thing, I promise this is the last thing. Don't store your passwords on sticky notes or notepads or notebooks or a printed out document or an Excel file that's not password protected or encrypted in any way. Don't store your passwords that way. I know it's really simple. You may think that that's your password manager, but it's not. A typical password manager will encrypt every password in the system. Typically Excel files or even Word documents or whatever that are storing your passwords are typically, most people don't save them and save them with the password required. But even a lot of times those passwords can be hacked very simply. There's a lot of tools online to make that happen rather simply. So again, stay away from putting passwords in clear text in any form of the matter. Now, if you want to have that from a disaster recovery standpoint, so you have your passwords, put that in a secure location, a safety deposit box where no one has access to it. And that would be the only reason that you'd ever do that as part of a business continuity or disaster recovery plan. Okay guys, well that really sums it up. We talked about 5 things that you can do to get great account hygiene in your business. Number 1 was making sure that we're not sharing our password information with anybody else. Number 2 was making sure that we're putting passwords on our customers when we have to call into a call center for that, making sure we've got account passwords on there. Number 3 was using two-factor authentication to make sure that we've got that second factor. Number 4 was making sure that we've got complex passwords inside of our systems using, again, a password manager to help us with that. And number 5 is not storing passwords in an Excel document or a Word document that's easily opened or printed out on your desktop or on a sticky note. That really sums it up. If you guys need some help with any of these, reach us out online at www.kotoritechnologies.com and we'll be happy to help you. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time. Take care.